Welcome back to another message crawler update. Today, let's talk about profile to export documents. Let's go to my screen and take a look at how that works. All right, so we have message crawler here, and we're going to go to export documents profile. What export documents does is it takes, records from the documents tab and it exports them as they are, meaning each row here will be aligned in a DAT file. This is as opposed to export conversations, where documents will be grouped by conversation identifier. So you will get one document for one instance of conversation identifier. All right, so let's go to export documents, and we have one profile here. You can obviously add more. And what we have here is, kind of simple, right? We have our folder structure, so we can say what folders do we want to use. We can create up to 4 levels of folders. Now, one thing to note when it says folders max 1000, that just means maximum of 1000. It's not going to guarantee to be 1000. It's just going to use an ID field, like an artifact ID in Relativity. There is an OID in message crawler. It's just going to use that field to pad it and just chop it, basically. So you can have less files in the folder, which doesn't really matter. The other thing we have here is how do we want to name our files. So control numbers, probably how you're going to use. If you generate a different field, you can use that. That's how native files and everything else is going to be stored. Here on the bottom, we have our field mapping screen, and it works kind of like you expect. You double click on the field, it moves to the right. You double click from the right, it moves to the left, right? When you can just move up, move down, all the same stuff. But what's cool here is you can change these fields for export. So if you say, I don't want it to be record type, you can say edit, and I want this to be exported as record space type. You can also do like a search and replace here, or apply date format. So if you want dates to look a certain way, you can do that, and then you can hit save, and now this will be exported with a space while it's here without a space. So you can rename fields that way. The other thing you can do here is, if we go to advanced, you may have seen we have these field sets, right? So these are the field sets we can select in our document tab. So we can quickly jump to a specific fields. Well, they are right here, and we can use those in our profile. So we can say copy from, and there you go. It's the same list. If we export an edocs, you can use the edocs preset, or you can use celebrate preset. So these presets are shared between view in a document table as well as in the export section. So we can pick them here or there, which makes it very convenient because you can add those fields for QC and then select them here to add them to your DAT file. We can, again, like I said, do the search and replace here, kind of do quick modification to fields if needed. Now, if you are going to be exporting extracted text, you can select text priority here. And we also have something called export file sets. Okay, so to explain what the file sets, they are just like you may have seen in Relativity, where you have original files, and then you have a production 1, production 2, production 3. The difference here is I allow you to create as many as you want. And you can just say, okay, let's say I have a file set, right? I have original. You can go to new, you can create a new one. And then you can, let's say, run a tool in message crawler, for example, to translate a document or something. And you can have a file set of translated documents or produced documents or something like that. And then they'll be stored in their own set. So they have their own extracted text, right? So you can have your version of extracted text in a different sets. Now, you're probably not going to be using it that way. Actually, you're probably going to go to file type, and you can add translation here. But maybe for a file set, you can have a production, and then you can have a copy of your translation that was produced. So that's kind of what that is about. It's just like those original production 1, production 2, and we can pick priority where to look for a particular file you want, which by the way you specify here with a triangular bracket. So let's say if you want extracted text from original file. But if you have multiple, it's going to go down the list and it will say, okay, in production 1, do I have extracted text? Okay, yes, I'll use it. If I don't, I'm going to go to the next one. And same thing is going to apply to every single one of these types. So that's how this set works. And anything that's a file type is going to show up in the triangular brackets here. So you can pick that. So it's very flexible, very cool way of kind of organizing your files without putting any kind of restrictions on you. Because you can just go in here and add new types. You know, let's say you wanted a translation. Well, like I said before, you can just add and let's just say translation, close and save it, and now you have translation. So now you can run, maybe you can load the cross-reference file that will load translation into this specific field. And it could be in this set, original set, or it could be in a different set, like a production set or whatever it is you choose to use. So that's generally how export profiles work. They're very simple, not much to them. Test them out, play around with them, use like a small set to kind of get a feel for it. I know things are kind of arranged kind of funky right now, but I will move things around just to keep people confused a little bit. So that is basically it. Export profiles to export documents as they exist in the grid. That's it for this update. Thank you for checking it out. I will see you on another.